soon as I hit record, they're making walls on or noises on the walls. We're live. We're not live. We are back for the More Sports Please podcast. You may see we have a different member this time. Offenbacker could not make it, so we substituted Joseph in. He's on the bench, and now he's in with the first stringers. So this is his first time on an official podcast. He's usually in here for the draft every year with no picture, so I had to get this picture. Hope you guys enjoy his face staring at his phone disgustedly. Gavin, you're back as normal. Both you guys say hello.
Oh, what's up? Hello. Been a
Hola.
while.
So, as you guys can see from the view on the left screen, it's not big because I can't do that. Don't know how to put everybody normal, but we have a mock draft. First mock draft of the year. Draft is in 3 days. We are very late to this mock draft, but better late than never. This is coming after the heels of the Aaron Rodgers trade going to New York. If I remember correctly, part of the deal was they get a second-round pick next year that can turn into a first if Rodgers plays more than 68% or something like that. And they swap first-round picks. Packers get 13. New York gets 15. So not too much drastically changes in this draft other than Green Bay and New York switching. So who knows if a tackle falls to New York now that they pick behind New England. But I still think Green Bay goes with the same position that they do if they stayed at 15. So, without further ado, we will be doing kind of it's not much of a snake order, but we're going one draft pick at a time. Gavin has one, I go two, Joseph goes third, and so on and so forth. So, without further ado, let's waste no time to get into this. Gavin, who are you taking number one with Carolina?
All right. First of all, Herbert, you're going to have to keep track of the order because I'm going to get confused.
I got you.
And I will not know where I am. All right. So I'm here. I'm sitting at number one overall. I mean, at this point, I feel like, everyone's got their pick for who's going number one. I don't think much is going to change in the next 3 days. So I'm going to take my quarterback one, what I feel like a lot of teams' quarterback one is, and I'm going to take Bryce Young to the Panthers, really revitalize that offense. Get this great offseason they're having keep going. Man's just a great weapon. I don't care about the size. He makes up for it in just pure ball. If you know ball, you know Bryce Young is gonna be the best quarterback out of this class.
I know LaMelo.
If you know balls.
If you know balls.
I agree to that statement to a certain extent. I do worry about the size. I don't worry too much about his height. It's more about his weight. I don't think he'll be able to withstand a hit from like a fucking TJ Watt or, Cameron Jordan. He'll be playing him twice a year if he goes to Carolina. But like you said, I don't think he'll be the best quarterback in the draft. Alabama quarterbacks have not really panned out in recent memory. Tua Tagovailoa, for example. But they kind of have the same narrative as Ohio State almost. I wouldn't really trust a quarterback coming out of either colleges. Now, this year for Ohio State, I will say CJ Stroud really did impress me versus TCU when he played against Georgia, going up against probably one of the closest comparison teams to a professional football team. He definitely showed some promise and really kind of could have solidified himself as the number one overall had Bryce Young not been Bryce Young, but my heart would love to see Anthony Richardson go there. I am a huge Anthony Richardson fan. Of watching him at the combine, man, oohs and ahs. I would die on this table. Anthony Richardson should go number one. He has the highest upside.
I don't know about I think Anthony Richardson might have the highest upside, maybe. Similar to Bryce Young, maybe. But man obviously has the athletic tool. It really depends on where Anthony Richardson goes. But he's my quarterback, too. Spoiler alert. in this class. But, yeah, well, there you go. Bryce Young, number one to the Panthers. Getting that offense just a little bit more scary.
Joseph, anything you want to add on to that?
Not really, no.
Yeah, it's kind of the
Bryce
most
Young,
solidified pick, I believe.
Right there. Yep.
So, I have two. I don't know if this is much of a smokescreen, but I do believe it. So, I'm not going to go the quarterback route, and I'm going to take Will Anderson, edge out of Alabama. In my opinion, he is the he's the best player on the board. I believe he just if he falls to Tennessee, like I've heard, I don't think they're sold on any other quarterback. I just don't see why you're not forced to take a quarterback. Your coach is going to be here for the next some odd years. You signed a big contract. He's not going anywhere. Nobody's bending your arm to pick a quarterback here. Why not go with a talented edge rusher who might be the best player in the class? And knowing this draft class, I guarantee that one of these quarterbacks is going to fall and might be there at 12.
Yeah, no, I definitely can see this happening. Ever since like the reports started coming out that the Texans aren't going to be in on a quarterback. But I heard this theory that like this could be a smokescreen so that the Colts get a little too comfortable at number 4. Their division rival, and maybe aren't like calling to like trade up with the Cardinals and like maybe some other teams like the Raiders or like the Titans. Or well, they're also a division rival, but I heard a theory that the Texans are just putting all this out there so the Colts are thrown off guard when they actually do end up taking a quarterback. But if I were the Texans GM, I'm waiting until next year to take a quarterback. I'd like CJ Stroud. I like Anthony Richardson. I think that'd be great. But I mean, Will Anderson's right there. Just keep building your team. You'll have assets to get another quarterback next year.
Yeah, I agree.
Thanks.
Joseph, you are up at 3 if you don't have anything else to add on the Will Anderson comment.
I can see him going number 2, but I don't see them picking him at number 2.
So who do you see Houston going with?
If anything, probably quarterback. I do like Jalen Carter going at number 2 though. I know there's a lot of things about him, but he's a very special athlete on the inside that you don't really see very often in recent drafts.
And I agree. I think a lot of the off-field issues have kind of really, I wouldn't say hurt him too much, but I think it's going to hurt him enough to not go 2, or even if Arizona stays at 3, maybe not even 3. The hype from Tyree Wilson, from what I'm hearing, is real. A lot of people think he's better than Will Anderson and see him possibly going 2nd overall to Houston. But I honestly am not a big fan of Tyree Wilson. I've never understood the hype. It's kind of like a Tavon Walker situation last year where he just randomly out of the blue. I mean, he's a great player, but he just randomly out of the blue became the 1st overall pick and was hyped up to be this big guy, and then went 1st overall to Jacksonville, while Aiden Hutchinson, in my opinion, the better talent and the better player, went 2nd. And we obviously saw that with this year's play style. Aiden Hutchinson did a lot better his first year than Trayvon Walker did in Jacksonville.
Yeah, Tyree Wilson is like one of the biggest boom or bust prospects in this class, I think. He's got that athleticism, he's got the speed, but he just has he doesn't have any like plan when it comes to pass rush. You ain't like you're gonna have to need a good coach, and just kind of hope that he turns out to be because he has a huge upside. Don't get me wrong, huge upside, but you're taking a risk when you draft Tyree Wilson. So I wouldn't be comfortable taking him this high.
I agree.
All right.
Joseph, you're up at 3 with the Arizona Cardinals. Are you willing to trade, or you want to stay?
I think they take Jalen Carter since Will Anderson's off the board. I think it's too early for Tyree Wilson to go.
All right. So, but you're gonna stay. So you didn't want to trade at all.
No.
All right. Fair enough.
Good to see the PFF mock draft simulator is doing the forever spinning glitch.
So just to refresh. I mean, we've only gotten 2 picks in, so just refresh real quick.
They're questioning the decision on Jalen Carter. They're like, "Are you sure about this?"
See, that's if you weren't gonna go Jalen Carter, I was going to see if I could get a trade out of you with moving up with Tennessee for one of the quarterbacks. But I think 11 might be too far for Arizona to move and still be comfortable.
All right. So am I up at 4?
Yep.
This is an interesting board here for the Colts. They got 3 quarterbacks still available. They can go with whoever they really like. Trying to figure out if I should go with what I would do or what I think the Colts are gonna do.
There are two different answers to that question. I think we're both on the
I
same
think
page.
I'm going Mr. Will Levis from Kentucky is an Indianapolis Colts.
And I've been preaching this for months on end. This is the most Indianapolis Colt quarterback in the draft. Will Levis, just when I look at him, I see Indianapolis. I see the Colts. It's even if CJ Stroud is still on the board, if Anthony Richardson's still on the board, I truly believe Indy has their mindset on Will Levis at number 4, no matter how this falls. The only other player, if it's Bryce Young, is the only other player I could see going to Indy. But I think Indy has zeroed in on Will Levis and has made him their top choice.
They want that arm strength.
Mm.
But yeah, I wouldn't personally do that,
No,
but
yeah.
I think it's just like a tried and true kind of pick.
Personally, I think I would have went with CJ Stroud if I was
I also would have gone
the
CJ
GM
Stroud.
of the Colts, but
Yeah, I guess I am picking for the Colts, but I'll give him Will Levis. I feel like he's a good fit there.
all right. Seattle up at number 5. Huh. Where is Tyree?
Dang, how low do they have
Holy
him?
fuck.
Oh my God, 28
PFF is not a big fan of
on their
Tyree Wilson.
big board. What? No, I don't agree with
I
that.
don't, because I think Tyree Wilson goes in the top 10. It's tough here for Seattle, especially with Jalen Carter not sliding this far.
I could see them trading this pick.
I think you're right, especially with Jalen Carter gone and not being able to really, not wanting to reach, I guess, on how Tyree Wilson's stock has kind of fallen, which I'm very surprised. Even Lucas Van Ness, I think this is the area he could really start to fall off the board here too. Who would? So CJ Stroud is still on the board.
Don't rule out quarterback for the Seahawks. If
I
it
am
falls,
fully ready to roll out quarterback for the Seahawks. They are locked
don't
and loaded on Geno Smith.
don't rule out quarterback. I mean, obviously you have Geno Smith there. Obviously he's been doing great, but if you can get, you know, a younger quarterback, sit behind him, similar play style maybe, sit behind him, and then all of a sudden you have a superstar.
I think I'm gonna make a trade.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna roll with a trade. My two questions are: does Tennessee trade up and go for C.J. Stroud and make him the backup of Ryan Tannehill, or do they trade up or sit pat and hope Anthony Richardson falls to 11?
I bet Jacob Herbert would come to the
I
lake.
don't think Anthony Richardson's gonna fall to
I'd
11.
roast my pizza.
I guess.
So you think he'll trade?
Yeah.
That's a valuable trade up to try to reach for Anthony Richardson.
I would say, yeah.
Joseph,
I don't know. It's so weird that Will Levis and Bryce Young are the first 2 quarterbacks off the
yeah.
board.
Are you you willing to part ways with pick 12? Because I definitely think if the board falls this way, I think Houston might try to trade up for Bryce Young, but I don't believe they want to give up a whole lot.
They found Abby in the donut with us that weekend too.
I don't know. I could see Atlanta trading with Seattle.
See, I think they love Desmond Ridder too much.
I see the Titans or the Texans.
I don't know. He barely played last year.
Yeah, but last year was kind of an off year, and with him being a rookie, I don't know if they were really ready to test the water. I think the same talk can be said with Sam Howell in Washington. I don't see either of those two teams really trying to pull the trigger on a quarterback. I think I'm going to go with Tennessee on this. I think, obviously,
Do you have Tennessee's pick?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I
Okay.
think, and I don't think it's going to take much. because they're going 11-5. I think it'll obviously take a third rounder, but I'm not sure it takes a first rounder next year because it's kind of a Pittsburgh and Denver situation a couple years ago where Pittsburgh jumped from 20 to 10, and it didn't take a first rounder next year. It took a first rounder this year, and I think a third rounder, and then a second round next year. Does that seem fair?
Good. Isn't there like a
It says they're not interested.
Well, yeah, they're not.
spreadsheet that you can like reference to? I've heard about this thing. I don't know if it's real or not.
There's supposed to be like a point system, but with Tennessee not actually interested in the pick, there's no way to really base it off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, I found the chart.
Okay.
Trade.
Go ahead and read it off to me.
Oh God, this is a lot to look at. There's so many numbers. So what do you having?
11, 72, and next year's second rounder for a fifth overall.
Okay, 11. Okay, so 11 is 1250. Write this down. So.
1250. What happened to my fucking pencil? There it is.
72 is 230.
230.
It's hard to figure everything out. You got to figure, like I said, you got to figure in food, drinks.
I don't know how to do
Why don't you
next year points. I
What
don't know.
what's the fifth?
The fifth overall pick is 1700.
feel like text that lady?
Okay. So it equals out to roughly it's 1480 versus 1700, but if you throw in the second rounder,
Second or even like a third rounder, to be honest.
so you want to throw in a third rounder. I honestly, if
Go second. Just
Go
in case.
second?
You're trading up for a quarterback, so you're not gonna have the leverage.
okay,
But
I'm gonna have to force it because they're not interested in the pick. But
yeah, we can get in there. I'm not good at like figuring out like what trade or like good value or that stuff. I
so
just
with
know the
this,
player.
yeah, with this trade up, I think they go. See, this is the tough pick because they could go with C.J. Stroud, who's definitely going to be the answer to the future, but Anthony Richardson could really sit behind Ryan Tannehill in his last deal. But how good is Tannehill going to be this year, and are they going to want C.J. Stroud to start week one?
You guys forget about Malik Willis.
They don't like him. Mike Vrabel hates him. Mike Vrabel doesn't like him so much he put Josh Dobbs in at quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know about the Malik Willis experiment at this point.
I'm going to go with my gut. And I'm going to pick Anthony Richardson.
There you go.
I think he's the perfect situation here in Tennessee. He doesn't have to start right away. Let Ryan Tannehill play out the last year of his contract and then get Anthony Richardson going next year. Even bring in a veteran if you don't feel comfortable with him playing. I think C.J. Stroud is ready to play now, and I don't think he's going to succeed well in Tennessee. So I feel like Anthony Richardson is the best option here.
All right, there you go, Anthony Richardson. Third quarterback off the board between C.J. Stroud is still there. This is already kind of a wild mock draft.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. I feel like this is how most of my mock drafts have been. It's one of these
All
quarterbacks have fallen.
All because Will Levis is just born in Indianapolis cold.
All right, Joseph, you're up at 6 with Detroit.
Easy pick.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's one player on this board that stands out that I have him mocked every time to Detroit.
They're
Yeah.
gonna go Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Interesting.
Jackson
Okay.
Smith and Jigba at 6.
Especially with the recent suspension of Jamison Williams for at least 6 games.
Yeah,
That will give them enough games to say, okay, well, we have our number 2 receiver. We can move on from Jamison Williams because he's a flight risk at this point.
I still think you could grab Quentin Johnston or even Zay Flowers or Jordan Addison at 18.
Just like the Falcons did with Calvin Ridley, it takes one bad decision, and you have to make a change in your career.
Yeah.
I think
Jamison Williams is still really young. Yeah, keep that in mind. I feel like the Ridley situation was a little bit different than this.
Ridley's still in his prime though.
This is nuts because I've had Devin Witherspoon mocked to Detroit every
Yeah, I was
mock.
gonna say Devin Witherspoon to Detroit would have been my pick here, but
But I definitely wide receiver, especially if the board falls like this. I mean, don't get me wrong. Detroit more than likely could pass a corner up at 6. I think there could be a lot of these teams that look at the board and go, well, this cornerback class is deep. We don't need to take one this early. Let's go with a position that isn't that deep, like a wide receiver. So I definitely could see the board falling like this, like Detroit going Jackson Smith and Jigba at 6. Do I like Jackson Smith and Jigba? Absolutely. Do I think 6 is a little high? Kind of, but like I said, they could definitely take a chance on a receiver at this high of a position because the board is just so deep with corners.
I don't know. I don't know if they would take a corner, not corner. They'd take a receiver this high. Just their culture that they're trying to build. More of
Right.
like in the trenches kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Well, not even in the trenches, but like that. Those nice physical players, like maybe a Devin Witherspoon
And I
or
think
someone.
the Jeff Okuda trade, I think, in my opinion, really solidified them going corner at 6. Getting rid of Jeff Okuda, bringing a fresh face, and granted, I know they have Emmanuel Mosley and Cam Sutton now, but man, that would be a nasty cornerback duo or trio with Devin Witherspoon. You're up at 7 with Vegas.
The more weapons for Jared Goff, the better.
That is true.
The less Jared Goff, the better. All right. Well, I'm the Raiders at 7. I mean, C.J. Stroud fell right into my lap, basically.
So
I'm taking
you're taking
CJ.
CJ?
Yeah, nah, he ain't getting past the Raiders if he falls.
Man, I don't know. Especially if Devin Witherspoon falls to 7 with Jimmy Garoppolo on a 3-year deal, quarterback might not be their prime position.
I think that Jimmy G signing allowed them to not have to trade up for a quarterback.
Right.
But I mean, if they're just sitting there and
If the board falls this way, I get it.
falls this way where it's just right in their lap, I'm taking CJ Stroud. Back-to-back Ohio State players, 6 and 7. There you go.
I get it. Man, this board is just so crazy that Tyree Wilson dropped that fast. I have 8, and I think this might be if the draft falls like this, and I'm Atlanta, I'm rushing this ticket up as fast as I can, and I'm taking edge Nolan Smith. He a Georgia boy. He stays in Atlanta. He ain't got to go far. Atlanta loves their Georgia kids, so he's still on the board. I think Nolan Smith can this. So I was talking to Kirby, the other one I do a different podcast with. This has to be one of the craziest drafts in recent memory because these players could go anywhere from 8 to like the top end of the second round. Like guys like Nolan Smith, Lucas Van Ness. It's just this draft class is so there's only about 20 people or 20 players that I consider first round talent, and other than that, they just can go anywhere else.
I would say like 10.
Honestly, you might be right. There's a lot of these classes are they're not that deep. Corner and edge they're just so many players. And don't get me wrong, the cornerback class is super deep, but there's just so many players that like if a Julius Brents came out next year, I think he's higher than he is in this draft class. If a DJ Turner comes out next year, I think he's higher than he is in next year's draft class than he is in this draft class. It's just there's a lot of good corners, but it's just so many. There's just so many corners in this draft class. Joseph, you were up at 9 with Chicago. What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say Nolan Smith at 8. I feel like if Devin Witherspoon was still there, him and AJ Terrell on the same team.
They got J.C. Horn, or they not J.C. Horn. They just picked up fucking
Jeff
Okuda. Did I say J.C. Horn earlier?
I agree with Nolan Smith.
But like AJ Terrell, Devin Witherspoon, and then Jeff Okuda. Well, Jeff Okuda, you don't know really what you're getting.
He's kind of don't get me wrong. He had a career year his last year, but he just couldn't get it all together in Detroit.
But with like a talent like Witherspoon on the board, still, it's like
See, I think, if anything, I think Gonzalez can go above him. Gonzalez
see
is my CB1.
at this point, Christian Gonzalez, it's basically CB 1A and 1B.
Yeah, I get you. And I kind of had that earlier in the year. I had a CB1A, CB1B, CB1C because I thought Joey Porter would be this high with them three. But Joey Porter has lost a lot of steam. People are putting him behind Deontay Banks, but Joey Porter
I
is a
saw
stud.
See,
Joey Porter definitely my
I see
favorite.
Nolan Smith going 8, but not to the Falcons.
You
It's gonna
think
be the
there's a trade up?
Seahawks.
So you think Atlanta will trade up to Seattle's pick?
Yeah, to get a quarterback before the Raiders.
I could definitely see that
Yeah.
on draft day.
All right, Joseph, you're up at 9 with Chicago.
Man, dude, they're gonna get that cool-looking dude with the eye as his profile picture.
Devon Witherspoon or Devin Witherspoon.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, if the board falls this way, there's no way they can really pass up. I know O-line is a big problem for them, but man, they have so many holes. The only hole they don't have, I think, is wide receiver and quarterback. They have to hit one of these positions where they desperately need talent.
Yeah, Devin Witherspoon falling to Chicago. That'd be a great pick for them.
I have
It would.
him going to Chicago about almost all my mock drafts.
Man, you are low on Witherspoon. I almost want to guarantee him as a Detroit Lion.
I just think there's
100%.
other needs for other teams.
Gavin, you were up at 10.
For the Philadelphia Eagles. Ooh. I have a heart pick and I got a brain pick, right? And they're the two top players on a PFS board right now.
Bijan and Skoronski.
Ah, man. Just imagine Bijan on that offense.
Right.
You got Jalen Hurts, Bijan, like read options, on behind one of the best offensive lines in the league. Bite the play action. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith down the field.
The flashy pick would be Robinson here, but Philadelphia could easily slide Peter Skoronski to guard.
Well, yeah, and that's what I think I'm probably gonna do, because I just don't see Howie. I mean, obviously the quotes have came out Howie was asked about Bijan, and actually Bijan has only met with two teams in person, and that's Philly and the Buccaneers.
No shit.
So obviously Philly is interested in him.
Right.
But I mean, Howie, just going off of past drafts and their tendencies, if Peter Skoronski's there, I think they slide him to guard and they take him at 10. So I'm going to take Peter Skoronski.
Peter Skoronski, in my opinion, is a natural-born guard. Even though he plays tackle, his arm length, his size, he's a guard. You slide him over to guard, he's going to be one of the best offensive linemen in the league, maybe even Hall of Fame. He is so good at it. He would be such a great guard. I hate him at tackle.
And the Eagles also just lost their starting guard from last year. So this would be perfect.
See, I see them going Kansas, to be honest with you.
I don't think Kansas really
Fletcher
fits.
Cox is about as old as my grandma.
True. But you got Jordan Davis, and I know he's not a household name, but Milton Williams put up double-digit sacks last year, I think. And he's just a second or third year guy.
You want a dark horse pick here?
Are we talking about 11?
Philadelphia to 10. I don't want to get your hopes up, but I got a dark horse pick. Jalen Carter.
Oh yeah, well if Jalen Carter falls down to 10, I don't think he gets past 10 because the Eagles are not going to pass up on him.
I think if Jalen Carter slides to 10, like you said, he's not getting past Philly. But could you imagine a defensive line with Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, two of the top defensive tackles for Georgia?
And then you got Nakobe Dean behind them. You're just making the Georgia
defense, yeah. And then who's not to say that Nolan Smith falls to 30?
Just go full Georgia defense.
Right. So I have 11 with 10 with
Georgia
Seattle.
Eagles.
The Georgia Eagles. The Philadelphia Bulldogs. So here at 11, you kind of screwed me because
Oh,
I wanted to go Skoronski and slide him over to guard. So I think the pick here for Seattle's got to be Kalajdzic. They have to hit defense. I think defense interior is their biggest need, whether it's defensive line, tackle, hell, even edge. I think Kalajdzic fits a perfect need for them. I think they look at Kalajdzic and go, he can be Aaron Donald, and we have to play against him twice a year, so why not pick him? He definitely has the size. He has the speed. He has a lot of measurables compared to Aaron Donald, but I think that might hurt him in the long run because everybody is comparing him to Aaron Donald.
I think where Kalajdzic goes really just depends on the scheme fit.
Yeah.
I feel like he can thrive in the right scheme, but I just don't know which scheme that is.
Right.
I don't know much about the Titans' defensive coordinator, but I mean, if they can use him right,
Seattle.
oh, sorry, my bad. I'm about to trade. But yeah, I don't know much about their defensive coordinator, but if they can use him right, he can be a great player.
All right, Joseph, you're up at 12 with Houston.
Yeah, I'm gonna trade this pick.
Who are you trading? Says New England, Minnesota, Cincinnati, and Philly are all interested.
Well, that's
Which
just
ones were?
New England, which I don't see happening. I don't see why New England would
No.
trade up. Minnesota, Cincinnati, and Philly. And obviously, you don't have to go off of if a team's interested. We can force a trade to another team that has a likeliness of trading up. If there's a team that trades up with Christian Gonzalez on the board, I truly do think it could be Baltimore.
Yeah.
As much as I would not want to see that, Baltimore has made some risky moves.
I would probably say the Vikings.
Minnesota?
Yep.
For who though?
Minnesota's needs wide receiver as a corner, so I mean Christian Gonzalez still linebacker and defensive interior and wide receiver. I definitely could see Minnesota being a trade tier because they just lost Cameron Danzel, I think his name was, and Patrick Peterson. So they are pretty weak at the corner position. What do you want to offer?
I'd probably give him the 3rd round pick as well. And probably a 6 for next year. Then, yeah.
So, looking at the chart. Oh.
Nope.
Oh, let's see. I was gonna say, looking at the chart, pick 12 is worth 1,200, and then pick what was it, 23? That's 760,
and then
and
119.
56.
So kind of close, but and then a 6th rounder next year.
Yeah. I don't know. You're going back a lot, just to get.
Now
the
here's
3rd
the
round
thing
next year.
with Houston though is one of their needs is wide receiver, and I think that's a perfect position to drop back for a wide receiver, except for the fact that now you have LA and Baltimore in front of you.
Well, I mean, I just would have taken Quentin Johnston right there, but
yeah,
I mean,
I don't think it's a
you can
little
also
too high for Quentin Johnston.
I don't get everyone falling on Quentin Johnston. Man's a freak. That man
You know who
cuts
else was
on
a freak?
routes.
Martavis Bryant. Now look at him.
The man plays like he's small, but he's not. The way he runs routes, he cuts on them so quick you'd think he's like 5'9".
Chase Claypool. Man was a
Okay.
freak his rookie year. Now he's in Chicago doing nothing.
Well, that's Chicago's fault.
So who you got to Minnesota?
Gonzalez.
That's what I figured. If they're trading up for anybody, it's got to be Christian Gonzalez. 13. Gavin, that's you.
Green Bay?
Yep.
Oh. All right.
I think
So
there's
we
one
just-
answer on here.
Really?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I have him mocked every single time to Green Bay.
I don't know if we're thinking about the same person. Because I got someone in mind that I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about. I'm not. I'm. Let's have a conversation. I'm thinking about Michael Mayer at 13.
So we are going same position because I'm thinking Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah, I was thinking Dalton Kincaid.
I get the Michael Mayer pick because Dalton Kincaid's got some back injury or back issues that a lot of teams could be worried about. So I get the Michael Mayer pick. Michael Mayer is my tight end 1. Dalton Kincaid's my tight end 3.
So I am going to take Michael Mayer then,
Okay,
yeah.
I get that. Michael Mayer's Dalton Kincaid's the better pass catcher. Michael Mayer's the better blocker. Dude, come on.
No.
God, fucking.
If you're going to make us pay for it, at least make it
Right.
usable.
I'm gonna fucking take a picture of this real quick. That way I've got the draft. Fucking. You're gonna make me pay $10 a month. At least make it usable. All right, we're live. We do it live.
Yeah, Michael Mayer. I mean, Mans is just automatic playmaker. I think he has the capability to definitely be a top 5 tight end in the league. Mans is just a freak.
Who did this trade to?
Now we have to go
Tennessee.
back. Select everything. You can just like fucking force it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to. They picked Anthony Richardson. This was Jackson Smith and Jigba. C.J. Stroud. Nolan Smith. Chicago's Devin Witherspoon. Philadelphia's Peter Skoronski. Kalijah Cansey. Texans traded this pick to Minnesota, who is still interested. They picked Christian Gonzalez, and then you had Michael Mayer.
Yep.
All right. So, yeah, I agree.
Mayer?
Michael Mayer, in my opinion, he's the best tight end on the board. He's really good at blocking. He's just – in my early comparison before I watched any film was Gronk 2.0, but now I look at him and he's not too much more like Gronk, but he's definitely one of the best tight ends in this draft class. This tight end class is pretty top-heavy, but I do really like Michael Mayer.
Yeah, it'd be like a good pick for the Green Bay Packers.
There's only one right answer for this next pick.
Yeah, here at 14, I've got New England, and I'm obviously going to go with Bijan Robinson, running back out of Texas. I'm just kidding. I think I'm going to go with Paris Johnson. I think the only thing that tears me away from Paris Johnson is New England's history of going Georgia tackles. So I kind of want to pull Broderick Jones here, but if I'm New England, I probably roll with Darnell Wright because that's the New England pick.
Darnell Wright?
See, I want to be the most New England way possible. With all these tackles on the board, they could trade. New England.
They could. Who's trading up right? If anything, someone's going to trade up to get another corner or something.
If there is any team to jump up, it's Baltimore. I think Pittsburgh could jump up over Washington. But I think it's Paris Johnson. You just don't cheat yourself out of it. Don't overthink this pick. New England has a tendency
quarterback
to do things.
Will Levis visited the Patriots.
Will Levis visited New England?
Yeah.
Wow. So New England might actually be in on a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, Jones isn't doing too hot. But...
Yeah, but if you're New England, don't overthink it. Paris Johnson's the pick there. He's the best left tackle in this draft class. He's the best tackle in the draft class if you don't count Peter Skoronski as a tackle. Joseph, you're up at 15 with the now New York Jets.
The Jets will get their man in Broderick Jones.
I've had Broderick Jones sliding out of the first round and going 32 to Pittsburgh.
Not happening, sir.
I love Broderick Jones.
He's
the tackle
a man.
Too intense.
I agree. Broderick Jones here, don't overthink it. He's the second best left tackle. People want to put Darnell Wright in that left tackle category. He is not a left tackle. That man is a right tackle by birth. That man cannot play left tackle. All right, Gavin, Washington, your mortal enemy.
I'm up here. I don't want to pick good for them, but I'm gonna have to. I mean, this guy's. I'm sorry, Herbert,
You don't think they go
but
Deontay Banks, who is literally in the same state?
I think they do go Deontay Banks if Joey Porter wasn't there. So I'm gonna go Joey Porter Jr. Gonna snatch him up right under the Steelers' nose.
I have
I just don't
convinced
think he
myself that
falls that
Joey
far.
doesn't go there. I think Joey, if Broderick Jones or Paris Johnson miraculously make it to 17, I think Joey could fall anywhere into the 20s.
I mean, anyone can fall anywhere, I guess.
I personally don't think Washington. I'm not a firm believer that Washington takes Joey Porter. There's way too much talent on here for Washington to go Joey Porter. There's Deontay Banks. I think they could go. Hell, they can even take Bijan
You-
Robinson, Osiris Torrance.
You have Deontay Banks above Joey Porter?
Me
Like in your
personally, no.
quarterback?
No. I think Joey
Okay.
Porter is cornerback 3, but a lot of people like Banks more than Porter.
I know that, but I mean, if I'm Washington, I'm taking Joey Porter. I feel like he just. Granted, I know Deontay Banks is the better zone corner, but you need that man. All right, and Joey Porter's got the build. He's got the ball hawking. I'm sorry.
And you led me to do at 17 the pick that I don't want to happen, but if the board falls this way, it's happening.
What is it?
It's got to be Darnell Wright.
Why don't you like that? I
he's-
like Darnell Wright.
We need a left tackle. Darnell Wright to right tackle. And I don't trust sliding Chukwuekorfor over to left tackle. And Darnell Wright played terrible at left tackle at Tennessee. Don't get me wrong, he is a great right tackle. And if we needed a right tackle, he'd be the top of my draft board. But we don't need a right tackle.
Yeah.
So this mock is chalked. So whatever happens, fucking Bijan Robinson could go here. Just draft the Gavin punter or whatever. This draft's chalked. But who do you got
All right, whose turn is it?
here at Detroit, Joseph?
Dalton Kincaid.
Dalton Kincaid. Yeah, if the draft falls this way, man, grabbing a wide receiver and tight end, it's crazy because I would have put my money on Detroit going defense both those picks.
I could see them going tight end.
I
I
don't
see
think
them
Dan
taking
Campbell,
defense in the first pick.
or not Dan Campbell, I don't think their owner really wants to go tight end in the first round anymore, especially trading TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah.
I
I
think
see
they're
how
really
people
high
wouldn't
on the
like
tight
that
end position.
Yeah, I mean Hawkinson's good. They just he didn't want to be there.
Meet to meet, wall to wall. What if I told you I didn't hit record?
I would think you're lying.
Because I am. I'm just kidding.
Well, spreading misinformation.
You're up at 19 with Tampa Bay.
I just think
Oh.
the Lions don't think Dalton Kincaid's gonna be there. And since he is, they pick him.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, don't get me wrong. This tight end class is pretty nice, but it's top heavy. And I think if Dalton Kincaid's there, why not grab him?
Wait, can you scroll up on the board a little bit? No, like scroll up on the draft, like who's been drafted.
Oh.
Interesting. Ooh. This is a tough pick.
Yeah, because there's so many holes on this Tampa Bay roster. I'm taking my hat off. My head itches.
They're gonna select the unknown quarterback named Bomb Trady.
It is crazy to me that Terry Wilson has fell this far, but I still don't know if I want to take him here.
Tyson Bagent.
Man, how is Max Duggan the worst rated quarterback?
Good question. A lot of people don't like his off-field issues.
Buccaneers are selecting Sensen Bennett.
But it's like, we go Anton Harrison or DeJuan Jones.
I think those are
19?
a reach on both.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of like DeJuan Jones better than Anton Harrison, if I'm being honest.
My honest opinion, I think they go Brian Branch.
I don't really think that fits what this is tough.
This and
This is tough.
Dallas, I think, are one of the two hardest picks in this draft because and for opposite reason. If Bijan doesn't fall to 26, Dallas hardly has any holes anywhere, but Tampa Bay has so many holes, you don't know where the fuck to go
Yeah.
because there's no longer a top tight end. There's not been a quarterback. There's the top O lineman is tackles and guard Osiris Torrance. There's no interior defensive lineman except for Mozzie Smith, but does he go this high or is that a reach? And then I guess the only other outcome for safety here would be Brian Branch. What does analytics say? Yeah, they say Brian Branch.
I don't think they. I mean, if I get Brian Branch, I don't really want to play my safety. I want to play my nickel corner.
Nickel corner, yeah. I think he's more of a nickel corner than he is a safety.
Quentin Johnson's still there, but
But that's what most people said about Minka, and Brian Branch models his game after Minka Fitzpatrick. And Minka did not want to play nickel corner in Miami, and that's the whole reason he wanted out.
you know, this draft has been really, really crazy, really fun so far. So I think I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it a little crazy and fun. I'm gonna take. I'm gonna take. This is so hard. Give me at number 19 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Darnell Washington, tight end out of Georgia.
Wow.
Great playmaker. He's basically another offensive lineman. You gotta.
I think he
The
is.
next.
Wow. I agree. He's another offensive line. He's an offensive lineman that can catch the ball and block. But I think this is a little too high for him. If you'd have asked me this 2 months ago, I definitely could have saw him go here.
I feel like people are a little low on Darnell.
I agree.
I don't go in this high still, but I don't know. I just love this tight end class, man.
And I think people are low on. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just sitting there here at the Buccaneers pick, and I'm like, this is the one that's calling out to me. Like all these other ones, I don't really want to take right now, but
I agree.
Washington.
I think a lot of people are low on Darnell Washington because he wasn't the star tight end at Georgia. He wasn't the number one guy. It was, I'll have to Google real quick. I forget his name. But Darnell Washington wasn't that like star talent at Georgia, but man, he is a beast.
That he is.
I love Darnell Washington. Like I said, he's my tight end too behind Michael Mayer. I have him above Dalton Kincaid. But tight ends, hold on. I'm trying to Brock Bowers. He was behind Brock Bowers. So Brock Bowers was the feature tight end at Georgia. So Darnell Washington just didn't get a lot of that hype.
All right. Well, there we go.
I'm up at 20. Seattle went with defensive interior and Kalijah Cansey. They don't need a tackle, defensive line. This board has fallen so shit.
Well, I feel like no matter how the board falls, it's just weird at this point.
Yeah,
Like,
I think I'm gonna take Tyree Wilson. I personally think he goes in the top 10, but if on the off case he falls here, I think he goes. Seattle gets him at either fucking 6 or 20, or wherever 7 or 20, wherever their original pick is. 5.
I mean, in terms of just BPA right there, that's outrageous.
Right.
Like,
I don't see him falling this far. Like I said, and then one of these three edges are going to fall, whether it's Tyree Wilson, Nolan Smith, or Lucas Van Ness. One of these three edges are going to drop to the mid-20s.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Joseph, you forfeited your pick from Miami. Nah, Joseph, you are up.
Usually I would have them go receiver here, but Deontay Banks is still available, and I think corner's more of a need than receiver for the Chargers.
And I agree. It's the only problem with LA's receivers is staying healthy and staying on the field. They definitely, if they do go receiver, I definitely could see Zay Flowers here instead of a Jordan Addison or Quentin Johnson. They need somebody who's not a tall, lanky guy who can separate the field via speed, and they just don't have that right now. But like you said, corner is definitely a bigger need. I think their defense is just lackluster. I think Justin Herbert's got plenty of talent on the offensive side to help him. He just needs his defense to be able to contain other offenses.
Yeah. No, if Deontay Banks falls this far, if I'm in the traders, I'm definitely taking him.
Which would be
Not
great because he's not fucking going to Baltimore. The only bad thing is Baltimore's going to get a fantastic player at 22, whether it's Deontay Banks, Miles Murphy, or a fucking Quentin Johnston or Jordan Addison. Somebody is falling to Baltimore that I don't want to see be there. Which leads you to you, Gavin. You are up with Baltimore's pick.
Oh, it's my pick? Dang.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, well, I'm going Quentin Johnston then. That's what I love Quentin Johnston, and Baltimore obviously needs receiver, so I feel comfortable taking him here. He just adds, another X factor to that offense.
You make this draft so fucking hard on me, man, because I have Houston, and I was going to go Quentin Johnston.
Ooh.
I don't like Jordan Addison to Houston. I think this is too high for Jordan Addison.
I don't really like Jordan Addison, if we're being honest.
Oh, you kidding me? I love Jordan Addison. I would love that combination between Kenny Pickett and Jordan Addison. If we didn't have Allen Robinson, bro, I'd be preaching Jordan Addison at 32.
At 32, okay, yeah. But I don't think he's really first round receiver.
Yeah, the combine really hurt him.
What?
I said the combine really hurt him.
Yeah, you can say
Let me
that.
see. Let me take a quick look and see what he ran. Saturday was wide receivers, right? Yeah. Jordan Addison's Kanban. He ordered a Kanban kit. Jordan Addison's Combine, he ran a 4.49 unofficially, which for a receiver his size is not what you're looking for. Or that was official, sorry. Unofficially, he ran a 4.55. So, I mean, it did shave off a couple seconds, but...
What about you?
What
Would you
about
be
me?
interested in helping us out Memorial Weekend?
No. Jordan Addison.
It's really easy work.
Yeah, I agree. Jordan Addison, I
I'm
don't
a
think is gonna.
professor.
I don't think he's gonna go in the first round, which leads me
If
here
you want
to
to see the
Houston.
professor is come back to the bedroom and I'll show you a video of it. But we're doing this pub crawl while the park's doing a pub crawl. We volunteered to help host.
I don't want to
Runs
be the
on.
professor.
Our theme is Gilligan's Island.
Sir, you're interrupting the podcast.
Have you ever seen Gilligan's Island?
Not this
I'm gonna be Mr.
No, I
Howard.
haven't
I'm
seen
gonna be
Gilligan's
Mrs.
Island, but I have seen Zay
Howard.
Flowers to Houston.
Jeff's gonna be.
Whoa, he just took Zay Flower.
I think teams love Zay
His
Flowers,
wife's gonna
and
be
I could see him
Mary- or
crawling up boards.
Ginger.
Well, yeah,
Jeff's
I
gonna
mean,
be Mary Ann. Jake volunteered to be the skipper. All we need now is a professor.
I'm gonna have to mute Joseph because Gavin or Joseph's dad is talking over Gavin.
Yeah, I guess
We
it's
need to
definitely.
know soon because
I
we're
do
trying
like
to
Zay
get all the
Flowers.
characters
I will
filled.
say. I like him better than Jordan Addison.
If not, then we're gonna have to
I
change
don't
some of the
personally,
characters around.
but I
I'll
think
go back
Zay
to being
Flowers is liked by a lot of
skipper.
teams.
Jake will have to be the, or I'll be the professor.
I could see him going above Jordan
And
Addison.
then
Who did the Texans take first?
Mom will have to be Mary Ann. I don't know what Abby will be then.
Will Anderson.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right.
If you don't want to dress up, you at least help
Will
maybe
Anderson,
serve food
then
or
Zay Flowers. It's a pretty
it'll all
good
be
draft.
pre-made.
Yeah, it
Just
is.
hands it out.
All right, Joseph, you are up at 24 with Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. Oh my goodness.
I think there's one pick here that makes sense.
The easiest pick of the draft.
If he falls this far, I think it's the easiest pick of the draft.
Oh, dude, they're definitely gonna draft Miles Murphy.
You think they're going to pass on Brian Branch?
Yeah.
Man, bro, I
Wait,
think
did you really? I thought you were joking.
No, I'm serious.
Brian Branch is a Jacksonville Jaguar. I am more confident on Brian Branch being a Jaguar than I am Devin Witherspoon being a Lion.
Like, if Brian Branch isn't going to the Buccaneers, he's not going to the Jaguars.
I see him mocked so many times to Jacksonville.
Trayvon Walker hasn't really worked out, and they need someone to pair up Josh Allen.
I don't think they're going to give up on him just yet. Trayvon Walker's going to be in his second year. I think they're going to give him some chances. But I do think they move on from Josh Allen. I don't think he's going to be there next year. Gavin, you're up with the Giants. I'm pretty sure you're. Oh, other than the Cowboys, you'll have every NFC East team.
Yep. This is an interesting pick. Yep. Brian Branch still on the board.
And I think what they have done this offseason has kind of given them that leeway to go with a Brian Branch versus a receiver.
True. I was also looking at John Michael Schmidt.
The center?
Yeah. I feel like they could take him this high.
Yeah.
But nah, with the way the bullets fell, I'm taking Brian Branch. Jacksonville's not taking him.
I agree. If Brian Branch somehow miraculously falls out of the first round, I think Pittsburgh snags him up at 32.
Yeah, who's gonna get him first? You know?
Right. I do see Pittsburgh trading that pick. They kind of came out today and were like, "Hey, that pick is offer. It's on the table, but we would like a king's ransom for it." So
Like a Chase Claypool.
yeah, kind of. I too think if Hendon Hooker, if the hype is real about him going in the first round and he falls to 32, I do think a lot of teams might risk it and take him in second.
Bro, man's like 40 years old.
Yeah. This is the easiest pick the way the board's fallen. Bijan Robinson to Dallas. It's just
boring.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it is boring, and it doesn't look like PFF really likes this pick that much.
No.
God damn it.
I also have 15 minutes just to let you know.
Yeah, we got what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks. We'll get that done in 15 minutes.
Actually, we have a lot more than 6 picks because you're gonna have to redraft. So.
Yeah, we're starting over from the top.
I gotta fucking go to the camera and get 14 all the way from because I got Green. It stopped at Green Bay. We picked Michael Mayer. I gotta fucking refresh. God damn it, PFF, bro, work your fucking shit. I'm paying $10 a month for this garbage. All right, Bryce Young. Will Anderson, Jalen Carter, Will Levis, trade to Tennessee, 11, 32, 72, 5th overall, forced trade, give me that. Draft player, Anthony Richardson, Jackson Smith and Jigba, CJ Stroud, Nolan Smith, Chicago's Devin Witherspoon, Philly takes Peter Skoronski. Tennessee grabs Kalijah Cansey. Houston trades this pick to the Vikings, who are no longer interested. They gave up this, and a 6 for this. Trade will most likely... Wow. Even though they're not interested. Wow.
Interesting. Must have been lopsided.
Christian Gonzalez. Michael Mayer. Next. Paris Johnson, Broderick Jones, Deontay Banks, Joey Porter Jr.
You said that wrong.
Dalton Kincaid. You're gonna have to fucking hunt for this one. Darnell Washington. Tyree Wilson. Don't have a pick. Deontay Banks. Quentin Johnston. Zay Flowers, Miles Murphy, Brian Branch, and Bijan Robinson. Okay, yeah, if I'm Dallas and Bijan's still on the board, I am running up to the fucking booth and being like, here. Say
I could also see them thinking about Mozzie Smith, to be honest. I feel like he fits in well.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that.
Okay, fair.
All right,
All right,
Joseph, you are up at 27.
Yeah, I'm gonna have them draft Emmanuel Forbes.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a good pick.
Yeah, I think this pick screams Buffalo. It's a cornerback who is very small and is very people are not that high on him, and I think it's a boomer bust. I think this pick screams Buffalo Bills. Gavin, you have 28. I'll help you out here.
That I do. Now, it's crazy to me that Lucas Van Ness is falling. But I don't really take him with the Bengals.
And it's crazy that there are no tight ends that have fallen to Cincinnati. I think that really hurts them.
I'm between. Give me Anton Harrison.
You think they go tackle?
Yeah. I think, Williams is going to be bye-bye.
Yeah, they could take tackle and take over Jonah Williams.
Yep.
This is easy pick for me. The way the board has fallen. Cameron Jordan isn't going to be around forever, and I think they could get an edge rusher to really play behind Cameron Jordan and set up that future on the defense. Lucas Van Ness, if he falls at 29. Boom,
Yeah, I'm not even
shakalaka.
that high on Lucas Van Ness. But at 29, that is insane value.
Yeah.
I don't think he falls that far, but
Joseph,
damn.
you are up at 30. Philadelphia took earlier Peter Skoronski.
I'm gonna give them Jordan Addison.
No.
He said,
I
No.
think if they don't go Jordan Addison here, they can 100% go Mozzie Smith. Even Jameer Gibbs.
Is that because you want Jordan Addison at 32?
I don't want him anymore. We got Allen Robinson. There's no need for a Jordan Addison. But I don't.
if I was the Eagles right there, I'm either trading out of that pick and getting, because they have no 4th, 5th, or 6th round picks. So a trade to get some of those.
Do they pick him or Mozzie Smith?
I just think Philly has their slot guy. They don't need Jordan Addison.
If they didn't take Skoronski, I would have gone to Cyrus Torrance for sure.
Yeah.
Felix Onudike Uzama is also a really good player that I could see the Eagles taking.
I think aside from DeJuan Jones, Will McDonald, Osiris Torrance, Felix Ndike Uzama, Jameer Gibbs, Mozzie Smith are all options at 30.
All right. Well, am I up at 31?
I think we're all doing 31. I think they can go anywhere here, but I think there's one pick that stands out. They just lost Orlando Brown. Why not draft Orlando Brown's clone?
Really? Man, I feel like Will McDonald screams Chief to me. That's one of the picks I feel like just.
I agree with Gavin on this.
Will McDonald?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm drafting DeJuan Jones. It's my computer. I'm just kidding.
That's fucking.
All right, we'll go with Will McDonald. The only reason I really think DeJuan Jones could go to, obviously, to Kansas City is because his pro comparison for me is Orlando Brown. He is just built like Orlando Brown. He just plays like Orlando Brown. He's fucking obnoxious like Orlando Brown. But this is how the draft has fallen. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I
don't.
disgusted.
I feel like this could I feel like no matter how the draft goes, crazy stuff is gonna happen. So
if Darnell Wright goes to Pittsburgh at 17, I will be mad. I will be very angry.
he will be very angry.
I will be extremely rageful.
Darnell Wright at 10.
I would be very happy. Get him off the board so we're not tempted by him. I would love him to go anywhere from fucking 10 to 14 or 10 to 15. Take him to New York. Get him to New England. Get him just. I hope tackle. I hope Broderick falls because people don't like the way he plays because they don't think he's NFL ready. I hope he falls and Darnell Wright goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how the mock draft goes. I've got Joey Porter going at 17. He's not paying to get past Pittsburgh, and then other NFL teams are going to be like, well, his dad was a Steeler. Let's let him go. Kind of like Najee. They let him come to Pittsburgh. And Kenny Pickett, they let him come to
This
Pittsburgh. They're going to
this
happen
is
to Joey Porter. They're going to let him
really
go to Pittsburgh.
sounding racist.
Huh?
Yeah, you don't want the black tackle, but you want the blue corner.
The blue corner?
Yeah,
Well,
is that not a blue guy? That's a blue guy.
That's a Penn State logo.
That's a blue guy, and it.
No, I would love Broderick Jones at 17. Broderick Jones and Joey Porter Jr. and these three right here would love at 17. The guy we picked at 17 would love him more at 32.
I don't think he makes it to 32.
That's fine. If Darnell Wright is not a Steeler, I'm fine. I would live.
Right, so instead of Darnell Wright, you get Jordan Addison at number 17.
That's fine. A lot of people would hate that, but I'd be fine with it. Pickett and Addison blew up in college.
All right, you get Bryce Young
Yeah,
at
they
17.
blew up.
Bryce Young? I don't want Bryce. But I think that's where we're going to end it here. Gavin's got tea time at 9. So thank you, Joseph, for joining the podcast and being a special guest on today. Obviously, thank you, Gavin, for returning. We will probably be back we'll definitely be back Thursday, but I don't know if we'll be back before then. So if we don't see you, we will definitely see you Thursday for the live draft reactions. Me and Gavin are for sure going to be here. Offenbacher will be late. I'm not sure if Joseph will be here on time either. James will be joining us on time. He does not work that day. So there will be several people in this chat for live draft reactions. I'm so excited. I've never been this excited for a draft. I was super excited last year, but I'm even more excited this year because of how crazy this thing can go.
It's going to be real fun.
So we will see you all Thursday. Have a good one.
See y'all.